Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of The Real Estate Guys with Century 21 Frank Frye Real Estate. I'm Phil Frye, the real estate guy, and my co-host, Frank Frye, my dad.
Greetings.
And our special guest today is Aaron Parks.
Hey, y'all.
Longtime real estate agent with Century 21 Frank Frye Real Estate, 21 years. And also our property manager here at Century 21 Frank Frye Real Estate. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today.
You joined us back in 2004.
That is correct.
Hard to believe. And before that, you're one of our top agents, one of our most successful agents ever. And 2024 was an amazing year, starting off great in 2025. Before you got into real estate, you were serving tables at Cracker Barrel, and you were also painting. What was it that made you want to get into real estate?
I honestly didn't even know what a real estate agent was. I was a teenager, just serving tables, was happy to be making, $100 a day, and just making people laugh and have fun and enjoy the dining experience. And I had multiple patrons suggest that I get into real estate. You'd be a great real estate agent. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means, but they continued to say it and continued to repeat that, and it went on for a few months, and finally I'm like, well, maybe I should look into this. And then realized that I could be rich beyond my wildest dreams instantly overnight. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm done with serving tables. Let's, fulfill this dream. So decided to get into real estate, and it just kind of took off from there.
So were some of the patrons, the people that you were talking to, were they also real estate agents?
No. They were mostly senior women, 90 to 100. Yeah. Those were the ones that, left the real big tips, would leave like a whole quarter, 50 cents. And yeah, Aaron, you'd be a fantastic real estate agent. You just have a great personality, and you're so outgoing and you communicate so well. And so, yeah, it was mostly, I don't think any of them were actually real estate agents that I remember. Yeah. Just said that I'd be good at getting in real estate. Yeah.
Would you guys talk about houses while you were serving them, or was it just?
No, it was just kind of random and out of the blue. It's just like divine intervention.
Okay.
Really. I mean, no other explanation. But they motivated me enough to look into it, and decided that, this is something I could pursue. You didn't need a lot of college education. You didn't need a lot of money to get started. So as a teenager, that kind of appealed to me. I thought, well, let's give this a shot. It's not going to be a huge investment for me to get. I don't have to go to school. I was kind of interested in being a chiropractor.
Okay.
And when I looked into the education required and the commitment and the time, I started to scale that back a little bit and thought, I don't know if I really want to pursue that at this stage in my life. So I thought, honestly, maybe it seemed like the easier route just to try to get my real estate license. I didn't expect it to go so well my first year, and then continue to grow and continue for it to take off. But yeah.
So back in 2004, we've got a housing boom going on. And then in 2008, we have the finance, all the finance issues, and the housing market basically crashes.
Right.
What was it like going from all that success when you first started out to now all of a sudden houses were sitting on the market for months at a time, and it was a completely different market within a few years?
Yeah, so the real estate market is continually changing. Year to year, decade to decade. That was a big transition, and you just have to adapt with the times. I started focusing more on short sales and foreclosures, and realized that was going to dominate our local market for the foreseeable future. So I started really focusing on those, and then I also had the opportunity to do property management at that time, where there was another local real estate agent that was retiring, and they reached out to me and suggested that I would be a good fit to take over her business. And I looked at that as another opportunity to generate income and kind of offset the sales success that I had. We weren't able to maintain that. So switched over to property management, And so did a little bit of property management and a little bit of the short sales and foreclosure, and that's kind of what helped me get through those really rough years.
Man, I'd forgotten about how many short sales and foreclosures that you were doing back in the day.
Yeah, it was madness. It was hard. There was a lot of additional paperwork, a lot of additional footwork. It was the contracts were different, the negotiations were different, the timing was different. Nothing really was the same as a traditional sale. You really had to adapt how you did business just to be relevant. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was important, and I was able to transition to that pretty seamlessly.
Okay. What about with all of the sales that you've had, I mean, over the last 21 years, all the clients, all of the deals that, maybe you thought were going to be going together and didn't, or all of the property management stories, what are some of the stories that you always remember, and that some of the maybe that are your favorite, or some that you never want to talk about again?
Well, I won't talk about those. Next question. No. There's a lot of fun stories. There's a lot of scary stories. A couple of decades is a long time. I feel like you've seen everything, but walking in on folks sleeping, walking in on a house full of raccoons, squirrels, flooded homes. I feel like I've just seen a little bit of everything. Some were funny, some were scary, some were intimidating, some were devastating. One of my first listings ever was a bank-owned property, and it was out on Shelley Road. And actually, the clients I ended up working with became lifelong friends, lifelong clients, and I actually just spoke with him last week. He reached out to me again, looking for real estate advice. But I got a call from a neighbor that there was water pouring out of the back sliding glass door. This is a ranch.
Wow.
And I thought, yeah, that's got to be bad. So I headed over there, fresh, brand new agent, didn't know anything, and saw a waterfall coming out of this house. Opened the door, and pipes were busted, it had frozen, and there was just 3 or 4 inches of water over the entire house. To me, it was complete madness. I'd never seen anything like it. Since then, unfortunately, I ran into quite a few flooded homes, vacant properties that weren't properly dewinterized. That's been probably the most eye-opening experience. A brand new agent and a flooded home, and I just really didn't know what to do. So,
how many raccoons are we talking about? Like 20?
I'm not sure I have the full count, of exactly how many there were. There was multiple, and they had left quite a mess. They don't belong inside homes. We'll just keep it short and sweet at that. Yeah.
Dad, it's time for our mystery question for Aaron. What is your question for Mr. Aaron Parks?
Aaron, let's see.
This is more of a mystery than I was expecting.
Well, I hate to bring this up, but there's a report that your car was in Joe Burrow's driveway the night he was robbed. Now, the last I heard from the police is that you claim you were in Newark, Ohio, on the stage at the Midland Theater with a cape on. Can you explain this?
Part of the scene. Is this why I needed my attorney present?
Yes.
I was not. It could have happened. It could have not happened. I really don't want to go into too much detail, but times were tough, and I was trying to support Joe, and it just didn't turn out the way I thought it would.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Big Bengals fan, big Joe Burrow fan, and I apologize. I don't want to say anything incriminating, though. On the record.
Are you still wearing that coat?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
Who day?
There you
Who
go.
day?
All right.
Have you met Joe?
I have not actually. No. The last Bengals quarterback I met was Andy Dalton.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a fist bump.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I gave him a shout out for his red hair. But no, that's the last Bengals quarterback I met, and then previously I had met Boomer Esiason. So yeah, pretty big Bengals fan, but have never met Joe Burrow yet. But if a few of my daughters have their way, we're gonna have to meet him this spring training. We were already talking about going down there and saying hi.
There you go.
So we went to one game this year against the Eagles, and unfortunately they lost. So I waited, hours and hours and hours after the game. Joe never came out. He was probably a little bummed. So
Yeah.
I didn't stalk him or anything. I don't want to get crazy, but yeah.
This cold weather reminds me of when the three of us went to the Bengals playoff game with the Ravens a few years ago.
Yep.
And how we had to dress warm because it was freezing cold that night.
It was cold that night.
I remember the Sam Hubbard fumble recovery.
Mm-hmm.
We ran it all the way. Sam basically ran into our open arms.
Yeah.
We were in the end zone, and that's where the celebration ended.
Ran right to us.
Ran right to us. And we did a kind of a lift almost, and like a spin. It's vague, the memory, but yeah, it was a fantastic time. No, I didn't run into any other players other than Sam that night. Yeah, but that was a good win.
Mm-hmm. All right, real estate interest rates are up again, up over 7%. What's your best advice for buyers who are nervous in this market?
Yeah, so the last 50 years, the average interest rate was like right at 7.72. And so historically, we're still a little bit lower than what average is. Now, I know the highest was in 81. You probably remember that. Around 18%, just under 19%, which
Yep.
seems completely crazy. And then in 2021, we were down at like 2 3/4. I mean, under 3%. So I think there's still a lot of folks that are like, oh, the 3% was so close I could taste it, right? I'm just now getting into the buying. Where is that 3%? I mean, historically, 7%, it might not sound as exciting as 3, but it's still below average. So I think if you're in the position where you need to buy, you can buy, I would still, pull that trigger and make that happen. I wish we could predict where rates are going to be a year from now, 6 months from now. We just don't know. Could they be higher? Yes. Could they be lower? Yes. You've got to really just do what works best for your family and your situation. But the initial sticker shock of that 7% that we're at right now is still historically below average. So if that helps you, get to the closing table a little bit easier, that information is solid. But you really just have to do what works best for you. I always like the number 7. Personally.
That was Boomer, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 7 works for me, and you've just got to do what works best for you. So
You've helped a lot of real estate investors over the years, both sell and buy. When somebody's getting into investing in real estate, what's some of your best advice for them just to get them started?
yeah, I mean, it's important to find an agent that knows the market and knows what you're trying to achieve. If you're wanting to buy, a commercial property, it's wise to work with an agent that has some commercial experience. If you're wanting to buy a duplex, multifamily, get with an agent that has a little bit of experience doing that. You've got a lot of information that's out there and that's available, but it might not be applicable to your situation and to what you're trying to achieve. So you've got to have your goals set, your goals established, and try to find an agent that is knowledgeable in that area that can make that happen.
When buyers start talking about return on investment, what are some numbers, or like what's a scenario that you try to make sure they're comfortable with when they're buying something to rent it out or to invest in it to flip it?
Well, I feel like we're not in the flippable market right now here in Licking County. It feels like the inventory is a little bit too low, the demand's a little bit too high, where you could go buy, an investment property and rehab it and get good return. I feel like that's a lot harder to come across right now. There's so many investors, there's so many people that are trying to achieve that you end up going above the asking price to where it stops making so much sense. But so that's kind of a challenge right now, to find those type of flippable properties.
Yeah.
They're out there, but you just got to work a little bit harder.
21 years in real estate, 21 years real estate agent with Century 21, Frank Frye, and also maybe 17 years as property manager.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
What is it about this job that keeps you coming back for more?
Well, I think it's kind of a generic answer, but housing is important. Folks being able to have a place that they call their own is important to me. And whether that's renting a good, safe, clean home that's affordable, or whether it's buying a property that you can own and occupy yourself. Sure, it's the American dream, but it's also just the basic foundation for success. I mean, you've got to have a good, safe place to call home, that you can wake up each morning and say, hey, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to take care of my kids, I'm going to be a better citizen. If you've got a good, safe, warm place to call home, I think that's critical. It's something that everyone needs, everyone deserves. So I just honestly enjoy being able to help people achieve that basic need and that basic security. I want them to be able to feel that, and I want them to be able to experience that. So helping them being able to get into something that is going to make them a better person is rewarding to me. The flexibility with the schedule is something that I've always found value in, and that doesn't it's not a 9-to-5 job. Sometimes I got a text last night at 1:00 in the morning. I had a tenant that had no heat.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to get my HVAC guy out there right away. They're with property management added. A traditional real estate agent, they don't have property management. They probably can set a little bit more a flexible schedule, cater maybe to another part-time job, cater to their family. You really do have to be available when the clients are available. So there's different times of year where that fluctuates. In the wintertime, when it gets dark at 1:00 in the afternoon, you're not going to be showing properties really super late. Mm-hmm. Summertime, you're out showing stuff at 9, 10 o'clock, and the sun's still out, and you're still out doing work. But so it does fluctuate throughout the year, the amount of hours and the times you have to be available. But in general, I'm able to set a pretty flexible schedule. So that has always been appealing to me, that with 5 children and a busy spouse, I'm able to still go to their events and go to all their activities and still be available. And so that has always been appealing to me as well. I will just simply schedule a showing or schedule a closing around the children and the family, and so that's always been really appealing also.
Well, speaking of the family, you've got a wonderful family, a fantastic wife and kids, and a very talented family, and we enjoy watching you perform in the Nutcracker. And so we got to know, what is it like not only getting to perform with your kids and your family in the theater, but also what is it like to be able to wear a cape and perform magic at a sold-out theater?
Yeah, a lot of folks don't know. I wear a cape at night pretty much constantly.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you had your suspicions. Yeah. No, the opportunity to perform as Drosselmeyer in the Nutcracker Ballet was something I did not have on my bingo card a few years ago. My second oldest daughter, Ava, got into dance. It's probably been almost 10 years ago now. 8, 9, 10 years ago, roughly. And the opportunity presented itself for me to audition and try out to be Drosselmeyer. And that was 3 years ago. And I got the part, and I performed, and I loved it. Being able to work with my kids and seeing them really close up and seeing them dance. Last year, 4 of the children performed, and then the 5th did lighting and backstage help. So all the and then Laura was doing costumes. So all 7 of us were involved in the Nutcracker, and it seems like, oh wow, it's really family based show, and it is, but it's also very well done, very well put together, very professional. Performed at the Midland, and also at the Woodward in Mount Vernon, and I absolutely love it. It allows me to get my mind off of the real estate. You do need breaks occasionally. This is a stressful job. It is a high demand job, but it allows me to kind of take the skills of just being a little bit goofier, being a little bit more laid back, and just really having fun on stage. So it's been fantastic, just to be honest. I absolutely love it. The kids are growing so fast, but knowing that I could spend those couple of months of rehearsals with them, it really means the world to me. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Dad, what are some of your favorite memories, or what do you remember most about when Aaron first joined our company back in 21 years ago? I wasn't here yet, so what do you remember?
I remember Aaron said he wanted in real estate, so I said, okay, fine. So he gets the license.
Okay.
I said, now you gotta go knock on 300 doors. So he went up and down Neal Avenue in that section of Newark with a wagon and a couple of kids and hand out flyers. And got no results out of it.
That's nearly 100% accurate. Yeah. Right from day one, it was door knocking, and right from day 2, I realized door knocking was not for me. I don't know if we're gonna edit this or cut it out, but future agents. But no, I knocked on hundreds of doors. Frank's completely right. Neal, Linden, Day, Williams, that block, and chased by dogs, chased by grown men, chased by grown women,
with dogs,
chased by kids on dogs, riding dogs. It was apocalyptic. But no, I don't think I got one single lead from door knocking. And this would have been, of course, early 2000s, 2004, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank's like, oh, Aaron, this is going to work. Yeah, this is, you got it.
I was sold on it.
You got it. And I think, I wasn't working with much. So, they were scared and alarmed and they're like, I don't know about this guy.
You think we can try it this spring yet?
Well, no, I'm thinking about it. Well, it warms up a couple of degrees here. I might
as soon as the snow melts.
As soon as the snow melts, yeah. Right back there.
Pull me in the wagon, I'll go with you.
Well, we could be onto something there.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting. I think back to those, they were selling, $60,000, $70,000 back then.
Yeah.
I remember some listings in that price point. And now we're all over 200 on that same lot.
Right.
Which, in just a couple of decades seems like, quite a bit of growth. Most of it's happened in the last 5 years, to be honest. But yeah, it was not super successful with the door knocking, so I'm sorry.
What with sellers who want to sell and that are ready to sell this spring, what do you think, besides calling you, what do you think they need to be doing to get ready to put their house on the market to attract the buyers and to get top dollar? Yeah,
each home's a little bit different. Each situation's a little bit different. Definitely have your real estate agent out as soon as you think about selling. Most of us can go through, meet with a seller, and say, this needs done, this is going to be a return. This is something we're not finding buyers finding real valuable right now, so you can kind of put that on the back burner. This room here, the black walls, it's probably not going to be super appealing. Let's get something more neutral. So most of us agents, especially the experienced agents, can go into a property and say, hey, do this, this, and this. This is super important. This isn't as important. You come up with a game plan and you come up with a timeline. You go over some numbers. You just try to explain all the pros, all the cons right up from the beginning. Set expectations, realistically as soon as you can. But this market right now, where I used to go into properties and say, you really need to have this a certain way and this needs to be a certain way. I've kind of laid back a little bit more because the demand is so high. Now sellers are like, Aaron, do I need to do this? And I'm like, no, probably don't. Let's just see what happens. I don't know if we need to focus on that. It's not a big priority. Let's go ahead and put it on the market. And, the way it's been the last couple of years, you really haven't had to make sure that the roses were, perfectly lined and trimmed. And you didn't have to make sure that, there was fresh paint absolutely everywhere and new flooring everywhere and everything completely updated. We're finding that the folks just need a good, solid, safe home.
Mm-hmm.
So, make sure you've got no termites, make sure you've got no, gas leaks, kind of the common sense kind of things. Make sure it's a good, safe home. Make sure your roof's not leaking, major cracks in the foundation. I mean, those are the kind of things that are important. It seems like the painting, the decor, the staging is a little bit more back burner right now because of the demand here in Lincoln County.
Okay. And would you say, are we still in a seller's market, or is it a buyer's market, a little bit of both?
Yeah, we're probably still in a little bit of a seller's market. I feel like, especially if it's priced right, as long as the sellers aren't trying to get too greedy with the way the pricing is, you just got to be realistic. As long as you're realistic, your property's still going to go very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is time for you to ask your mystery question. It can either be to Dad, myself, or both of us.
Yeah, I guess I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here at this company for this long. When I got started, I asked around. When a new agent starts, they've got to find out where they're supposed to be. You've got to have a broker that's going to, sponsor you and wants you to work with them. And I asked a bunch of folks in the area, and everyone had such incredible things to say about Frank, to where I knew that there was no other choice, that I had to come here and work with Frank. And it's been a fantastic, couple of decades. A lot of support, always supporting, always available, always there to answer questions. The knowledge, the reputation, it just exceeded all of my expectations. And as a top producing agent, you get other companies wanting you to work for them. And I was constantly being bombarded from other local brokerages that wanted me to come work with them. And it was always a quick no. There was just no way that I was ever going to work with anyone else. Frank had too good of a reputation. His mentorship when I first started, I felt like I didn't even leave his side for the first couple of years. I was always in his office. We were always in the car together. We were always, doing stuff together. He was always available. And, I knew really from then that I really had no intention of ever leaving this office. So I really just didn't have a question per se, just wanted to say thank you very much for, the opportunity and for your reputation and the company. And even when you came on, you just kind of took over the reins and, filled into Frank's footsteps and had the same kind of reputation, and it's just been really refreshing. So I just really want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
What do you think has been your, what do you think has kept you in the business this long? What are we talking, 50 years?
Yeah, coming up on 50.
Yeah, it's an incredibly established career, and it's extremely demanding career, and you've been able to do it and be successful in the same location. You haven't, brokerages are constantly changing their name. They're constantly changing their location. This consistency is unprecedented. What do you think has, allowed you or driven you or motivated you the most to stay that consistent?
I think a lot of it is to do with people like yourself staying with the company and believing in it. And that pretty much sums it up. It's been it's worked many, many years, and nothing keeps it from working.
So choosing the right agents is important. Having
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, when
I know
Aaron,
that's
when
hard.
Aaron's out, I don't worry. I don't have to worry
Well, thank you.
what he's doing or telling people.
Yeah, you've got to be honest in this business. You got to be able to sleep at night,
It pays off in the end.
and that was something that Frank always instilled in me. Right from the beginning. It's not all about the sale. It's really about the individual and the person. That honesty and that integrity. It spreads. So yeah, like I said, I've got to be able to sleep at night. So I've always tried to do things on the up and up. You're not doctoring documents. You're not lying. You're not, giving these false hopes and dreams. You just got to play it straight, and everything will work itself out. So
I love it. With all of the memories, all of our travels, all of the clients, all of just some of the memories of the travel, seeing you on stage at the MGM Grand performing with David Copperfield, and in Vegas, and you're about to receive the Century 21 Centurion Award as being a top sales agent. What, over all the 21 years, what are just some of your favorite memories?
I mean, there's been a lot, but you hit on a few of them. Traveling around to the different conventions has been a lot of fun. Entering into the competitions that they've had, I like competitions. I like motivation. The one year it was in Las Vegas that the grand prize for the competition they were running that year was a Tesla. And I don't know if you remember that or not, but that was the Tesla was new. That I didn't know what I know now about the company. I've got to be careful here, but I was extremely motivated to have an electric vehicle, and I was willing to practically do anything in my power to win that competition. And it was really just about making connections with the other agents, and that became my sole focus. That week was to make those connections with as many agents as possible. I had a lot of fun doing that, and there's just not enough really time or for me to go into detail about the whole entire story and the situation and all the fun things. But I ended up coming in second place in the competition, unfortunately. But I won a drone, which I was able to use on many real estate videos and marketing, and so it ended up working out. But that was a lot of fun. Performing with David Copperfield, that was a lot of fun. I remember one year. I don't remember. No, it was in Vegas. It was at the Hakkasan, and we had it was the final night of the party, and I think it was you and I.
It was, yeah.
And we walked into the Hakkasan, and we were feeling it.
This is a major nightclub. Vegas.
Big nightclub in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we were expecting. It was a big, huge party. I mean, I'm sure we looked amazing, smelled amazing. We were ready to just tear the dance floor up.
Big time.
I mean, there's probably folks out there like, oh, who are those guys? And we get autographs and, we just strolled right into the I don't even know what we would call it. Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a club.
Club.
Yeah. So we walk in, and we're looking around, and it's just not as big as I thought it was going to be. It's not as exciting as I thought it was going to be, and it's not as loud as I thought it was going to be, and it's not anything that I thought it was going to be. I mean, I was beyond disappointed.
It looked like a regular bar in Columbus.
Regular bar in Newark.
Yeah, Newark, yeah.
Yeah. Much smaller than Columbus. Way smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a bunch of seniors in there as well.
Older people sitting on couches.
Older people strategically placed in couches, recliners. And, they're just maybe, just little movements, little dancing. you know, it was so uninspiring. And I thought, this is what we've waited for.
This is the big finale.
This is the big finale. And, you know, we're kind of, we start maybe dancing a little bit, moving around a little bit, and then we're like, something's just not right. Like, where's so-and-so and where's so-and-so? And none of the people that we were expecting to hang out with and dance with and spend, you know, time partying with that night were really there. And then we realized we essentially were lost. We were in, like, the senior citizen, like, night, you know, daytime club almost, and the real party, which you could almost feel. You could almost feel the real party. You knew it was somewhere. You knew it was close. Yeah. You knew. We're in Vegas. There's something else. You could feel it. You could sense it. But we couldn't find it. And we walked around that little bar. I know I did. Up and down the little ramps that they had for the seniors. You know, walked up and down and looked around, and it's like, oh, something's just not right. And then I think maybe, I'm not exactly sure how we asked maybe someone, like, hey guys, is this, you having fun? Like, oh, I'm going to embellish a little bit for storytelling purposes. This person's sweaty, dripping, beads hanging, face paint, glow in the dark, just little, like, probably nipple pasties, I don't know. Sweating, and I'm like, where? Oh, I just came from the party. And you're like, what? What party did you come from? Like, what are you talking about? The club. We were in the club. We had to come down here to cool off. We had to come down here to relax. We had to come down here to catch our breath. We had to come down here to, you know, get some seltzer water or whatever. We're like, what is this magical place you're talking about? And we're like, they're like, oh yeah, you go through this door and you go through this door and you go through these curtains and then you open this door and you go through this security and this bouncer and you take this elevator, and we're like, oh, all right, let's go. And you walk in, open the door. 10 stories. I don't know how tall it was.
Yeah.
Smoke machines, bubble machines, DJs, people with hoods on, like laser lights showing, thousands of people. I mean, it's just club. The whole thing's vibrating. And I mean, it was the massive party that we were expecting. Yeah. And I don't even think I even saw you the rest of the night.
No.
I mean, Phil went his way, I went my way. You know, we're wiping sweat. It was intense. But that was embarrassing. We spent so much time in the seniors club, but then it turned out to be a really fun night. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, that was one of my favorite memories.
Hakkasan.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good memory. Good time.
Love that memory. You were exactly right. And that was a Century 21 trip.
Yep.
And the global conference. And that same trip, I was watching Aaron network with all of these agents from around the world. I would come out of a seminar that I would be in, and Aaron would be out in the hallway surrounded by about 20 Century 21 agents from around the globe, talking to them about the competition and networking, exchanging information. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Aaron went global that trip.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I have a notebook actually upstairs in my office. I met agents from, it was like 30 some countries, and I wrote down all the names. It was fascinating. It was really cool to spend a few minutes talking with those agents from around the world. That's one cool thing about Century 21. I mean, they are a global company. Another reason why I love the company, and I have no intention of ever leaving and staying with Century 21. But meeting all those different agents, hearing how their markets were, what they were doing, what was working for them, what wasn't working for them. So these conferences are extremely educational. They're a lot of fun, but you can also get a lot of growth out of those too. So yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite memories as well. Yeah. But yeah, we were able to go, been to Hawaii for a conference, which one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. So was able to do real estate and explore the island was fantastic. But yeah, many global conferences, Florida, California, Vegas a few times. It feels like we've been all over the United States over the last few years, last couple of decades. But yeah, had a lot of fun in all those events. So
Great times and memories.
for sure.
Dad, before we wrap up, you got any last minute thoughts or questions for Aaron?
No, I don't have any more to say, but Aaron, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you.
The Real Estate Guys is brought to you by Century 21 Frank Frye Real Estate. We've been here since 1977. We're located at 65 East Church Street in downtown Newark. Stop by, or you can find us online at c21frankfrye.com. And you can also call us at 740-345-4001. We are sponsored by Casey Claxon with Claxon Custom Printing and Promotions. Contact Casey for all of your promotional needs. And Casey, thanks for running the camera today. Until next time, with the Real Estate Guys.